With Dr. Jane Marks. We're addressing a very serious issue this morning. We're talking about it's the third week of school now. This is the time when stress and a lot of pressure can really build in among teens. So we're talking about suicide prevention.
Right.
What are some of those signs and symptoms that parents and friends need to be on the lookout for?
Well, one thing that parents need to first of all be aware of the fact is that teen suicide is the third leading cause of death among teenagers. So it's important that both teens and their parents know the signs and symptoms, and particularly the question that came in had to do with a mother who wanted to make sure that her children were aware of it. So where do you start? Now, start with where most of my teenagers, and when we look at the percentages, about 50 to 60% of teenagers who refer to me come after a major life crisis, more particularly the loss of a relationship, deaths, just a life crisis that happens, inadvertently. Now, number two, major changes in behavior occur. Difficulty concentrating, changes in sleep, major changes in eating habit, fear of losing control, extraordinary anger, hopelessness, no sense of purpose, and oftentimes these kids are participating in substance uses, alcohol, drugs. If you see a friend who is experiencing any kind of suicidal ideation, thinking, writing, drawing, or talking about suicide, kids who continually talk about dying or using terms like disappearing or jumping, these are critical statements. So teens and parents pay attention to this. Now once you become aware that these signs are there, it is important to note that there are many school-based programs that address these issues. And if a friend hints or jokes about suicide, it's important to take all communication or suicide talk very seriously. It is safe for us as parents and as teenagers to say, are you seriously thinking about this? Because see, this is a subject that we don't want to talk about because it's very sensitive. We don't want to hurt people's feelings or infringe upon their privacy issues. But for parents and for teenagers alike, it is time to go ahead and take that step. Now, it is also critical to become a good listener. We need to listen. Teenagers need to develop their listening skills. Parents, by and large, we pay attention to instinctively, when we hear these things. But for teenagers, being a good listener is extraordinarily important. I think, because of the consequences of suicide, I think it's also important that teens, by and large, make an effort to, if a person is talking about this, make sure that your friend is not alone. That if this kind of conversation comes up, try and spend time with that friend or make sure that friend gets some support if they can. Friends having a tough time also need the support of mental health professionals. And if an emergency like this comes up, it is important not only to say, I will come with you, I will remove anything out of harm's way, I will get you to the emergency room. We have, of course, here in Tallahassee, we have Tallahassee Memorial Emergency Room, which does have a psychiatric unit. So these things are available in this community. This is an extremely critical issue that both teens and parents need to be aware of.
It's something, too, you got to find your support system or be that support system.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you sharing this advice. And, of course, we'll put all of this information up on our website so you can find it later on. It's WTXL.TV. Dr.